Welcome one and all to the dusk here in Baku, in Azerbaijan. Of course, we're racing around at the Baku City Street Circuit here for round number 10 of the DTR ESports League. And we have 19 drivers ready to battle it out. And whilst we're waiting for a few cars to come out of the pit lane here in qualifying, we'll talk about the championship. And well, Ariel, the Alpine team, of course, represented by Giron and Isa this evening, are leading the way, and by some margin, domination in Austria 2 rounds ago for them. And well, last week in Belgium it was consistency for them which saw them extend their advantage at the top of the championship. They currently sit on 215 points. In second place it's the McLarens of NLR with Pikachu, and we're going to go with Viper racing for them here in Baku this evening. Behind them is QVR, the Alpha Tauris, then Excel in the Ferraris, and CPI round out your top 5 in the Alfa Romeos. Of course, I have to say apologies for myself for not being here for the last 3 weeks, but I'm back and looking forward to the final. Hopefully, looking forward to the final 3 rounds as Verstappen just makes his way up through the castle section, and we are not too far off our first laps here in qualifying. A lot of cars now out on the circuit on their out laps, and the AlphaTauri QVR driver will be the first person to set a time on the board, and we're going to follow him around. Also a very, very rapid driver. We've seen that in the Esports League this season, and of course having a very good pedigree in esports racing generally. And as he makes his way through the final couple of corners that you don't really consider corners, and approaching speeds of up to 330 kph here in qualifying. Not getting ready to slam on those brakes as we head down into turn number 1. We're on board now with Verstappen into turn 1. We go actually 327 kph is what he hits, clips the inside curb, runs wide using all the circuit available to him. We've got 2 cars on the inside, but they'll stay out of our way very nicely indeed. Keeping it in third gear, short shifting up to 4th to help the traction a little bit there as well as he heads down towards turn number 3. Sort of, I don't know what going to the left was there for, maybe trying to get that sort of wind effect against the wall. Bit of a lock up and short shifting up in a 4th. He was there again, doing a very nice job just avoiding the curbs. Doesn't want to unsettle the car now as he heads into turn 5 and turn 6, nice and tight, and then flick back to the right hand side. And if you keep tight on the inside on 5, it just helps open up turn 6. This long run now to a very, very difficult turn 7, using all the curb a little bit more, because again that just opens up the corner, allows you to get the traction, allows you to get the power down much better through the castle section. It's all about commitment as we now climb up the top, looking for that sort of swinging switchback now as we head back up the hills. A car weaving up the road in front of us, and I'm sure that'll get away very nicely. I won't get a repeat of was it Gasly and Brennan Hartley a few years ago. Almost had an airplane crash down here at turn 15. Doesn't opt to use the curbing. That's been the tendency on this game. So we see a lot of people avoiding that and trying to carry as much speed without unsettling the car. One more proper corner to go, and he gets on the power nicely with 13.6 combination time. We'll bear that in mind for the future laps. And now not much more he can do. He won't be getting a toes in. One of the DTR drivers seems to be ahead of him, and as he opens that DRS flap, he'll be approaching the speed of about 327 kph, what we saw from the start of his lap. And as he crosses the line, it's 1 minute 38.1. That's a very, very good time from Verstappen. Gary's invalidated a bit further back. Robbie and Pyro both on their out laps. Jerome in the first sector, and Campbell will be next across the line. What can he do? He goes into P2, less than 10th behind his teammate. Trying to find people who are about to cross the line if I can. Is about 0.2 of a second off of Verstappen managed through the first 2 sectors. He'll be the next driver to cross the line. It's got 38.5, goes P3 with that time. His teammate Jerome a little bit further back, 34.4. Decent first sector for him. I think if he may have invalidated, Dave has as well on his mediums. Brent just starting a flying lap. Wesley a little bit further along, loses the rears. I think that car maybe sort of spooked him a little bit. Pace Pantera's invalidated as well. I'm trying to remember who that car was that I was following a minute ago. I think it was Jerome. He'll probably be the next car to set a flying lap. So one of the Williams is actually up the road. I think he is invalidated. So Jerome will be the next car to set a flying lap. Purple motor sector from him is what we can see from the mini map. We go on board with the Alpine drive using a lot of ERS. So this probably is his second push lap. Maybe invalidated the first. DRS wide open, running towards the line. Can he get anywhere near his teammate? Can he go ahead of his teammate? He goes in the gap in the middle. It's so far, it's QVR, Ariel, and AlphaTauri, and front row, and an Alpine second row. As things stand, Pride just starting and flying up. Yellow flags are out in sector 1. I think just drivers backing up. Rocco about to start flying like Dave, going again on the medium tyres, and that's Wesley going into P5 with 39 flat for his first time on the board. A lot of guys opting for the medium tyres, it seems. I think it's a difficult race on strategy as Julian goes into P4 in the Williams. What can Viper do in the McLaren? Maybe the next driver across the line, as I imagine both QVR drivers will be diving into the pit lane after their very, very solid first laps here. Viper though, can he challenge the top 6? That's a very good time on the mediums. It's a 1 minute 38.7. Brain goes into P5 for DTR, with 38.5 as well, just a little bit ahead of Izza. Never know, these times could be important. Have a little bit of chaos. What? Oh, he's waiting to go into the box. I thought that was a very bizarre place just to be stopped. Architect comes across the line. It's a 38.6. He goes P7 in the Haas for EVG. Out of the AlphaTauris, as Alfa Romeo's getting on. We'll follow Pyro now as he slams on the brakes. Keeps it just about out of the wall there. So easy just to run a little bit deep. Face Vanteras across the line. He's gone into P5. 38.4 is a very, very good time from the Mercedes driver. Winding our way through the walls now. Really look like it just got a little bit light there. Of course, you run such low aero here. Those high speed sort of little kinks down the straight do become a little bit challenging sort of in quali trim. As he, not much more he can do. Again, another driver that I think's had to do 2 laps. But he's just 37.9. What a time from Pyro. We'll see what his teammate can do. Can he match him at all? 13.6 is his combination time. I think a little bit down on his teammate. Maybe looking to try and get into the top 5, top 6 here. Is Robbie across the line. Robbie goes. Top 7 it is for him. Not too far from Terra, and that's Rocco into P5 in the Ferrari for Excel. See what Lance he's up to. 34.7 for his first sector. Looks to be using a lot of curb on the on turn 7. Oh, and he's hit the wall a little bit there. What on earth has gone on? I can't lie, I was looking down at my phone to try and follow the sort of the chat, because I've been given news. The weather report is in for the race, and we're expecting rain. There is rain expected for the race, so a brief, as I think it's gone a little bit wrong for Lancey. I think it may have hit his teammate, I wasn't 100% sure. Did hear it, I didn't quite see it. Nevertheless, I don't think this will be the best of times, unfortunately, for the Mercedes driver. So we'll have a look elsewhere. Lee, currently about a time on the board, and invalidated as well. I think there's going to be Alfa Romeo appearing somewhere. He gets out of the way very nicely as Gary flies along. Is he on the medium tyres as well? I think he is. No, I'm completely wrong. He's on the softs. I'm going to say a pretty good first sector time if it was on the mediums. Can he get anywhere near his teammate Rocco? He's going to have him P4, combination time of 13.8, so he's going to be there or thereabouts. Can he get anywhere near Robbie? Can he get anywhere near Brent? I think that's where he's going to slot into, but depends what his last sector is going to be looking like. What's the wing levels going to be for Gary? You know, you can gain a couple of tenths if you're running a bit more low downforce. Of course, that compromises you elsewhere in the lap. I'm sure a lot of these drivers would have found that sort of sweet optimum point, if you like, and he crosses the line. It's a P12, 38.6. Once again in the Esports League, I say it every time we're on here, the field spread is about a second, which I think is fantastic. And if you ignore the top sort of couple, if you ignore the bottom couple, it's a couple of tenths, which is always fantastic. As Campbell starts his flying lap, we're going to follow him. We followed Verstappen earlier on. What can Campbell do? Can he beat his teammate? Can he get into the 37s? And can he beat Pyro? Those are the questions we're asking ourselves. Those are the questions he'll be asking himself as he now hits the brakes for turn number 3. Coming down from 320 kph, hits the apex perfectly, runs perfectly wide as well. Get the optimum exit, if you like. Hit the apex on the inside just a little bit there, unsettled the car a little bit, just pulled him a little bit wide, but he is 200ths of a second up. Had to correct the steering there as he went into turn 5. Turn 6 was very nice though. Getting the power for turn 7, you come out and back in against the wall. Want to avoid that curb on the left hand side. That's an optimum. That is the optimum line through turn 7. Throws the car and keeps it in 4th gear just to help. I think with traction, doesn't get as close as he wants to, uses all the curb and, well, uses all the curb and a little bit more. Verstappen's a 10th up though. for his first two sectors. Surely he could be looking at a 37 here. Could he be looking at provisional pole position? DRS wide open, running towards the line. It's a 38.0. Lost a little bit of time at the end of the lap there, unfortunately. How's Jerome getting on? Just started his flying lap. Watching on that sort of back straight, if you like. Slams on the brakes. Again, right up against the walls. It's sort of Monaco on steroids, and then we had Vietnam for a brief moment, which was Baku on steroids almost. But a little bit down for the first sector. Really nicely hugged the wall there on the inside. Yellow flag for drivers just backing off, trying to get a bit of space so far as we get almost into the second phase of qualifying. What a time from Lee! Where on earth has that come from? A 37.6. Apologies for missing that, because that is a mighty lap from Lee. I'm a little bit speechless. We'll have to keep an eye out for Lee in this one. What a time as Verstappen, unfortunately, Campbell's, I'm not sure what 37 up there was for, but nevertheless, he's on an in lap this time around. He's a couple of seconds down. How's Verstappen faring on his second push lap? 6 minutes left in this session. Of course, it is a long lap around Baku. The combination time isn't really where he wants it to be. He'll be coming in, I feel. Jerome getting a bit of a toe off his teammate. Bit of team play here. Down at Ariel, down at Alpine. Surely he's going to be finding a bit of time here. Crosses the line into 37.9. He goes P3 with that. And I'd love to know the final sector time. I'll have a look at a bit of that. Have a look at that later on, I say. Rocco just starting his flying lap. Further down the order, Brent a little bit down for his combination. He's not getting a toe down the straight either. So he needs a mighty final sector to try and improve his lap time a little bit here. I think he has done a little bit though. Stays P10, I believe. Architect, who's improved? Somebody's improved. I think that's the McLaren. A Viper gone into P5 because his first lap was on the medium tyres. What's Lee up to? He's on a very, very slow lap. I think he's run out of fuel. As Lee, he gets out of the way nicely of the McLaren, and we will follow the McLaren. Actually, that's Pikachu just starting his flying lap. Lancey looking for his first time on the board as well. Rounds the final corner. As the Haas of Ragnar goes P11 with 38.5. Lee's just trying to get back to the pit lane. I'd love to have a look at Lee's next lap. He surely will have the time. It's Pyro committed up through the castle section. He's now got something to aim for. Runs a little bit wide though. As Julian goes P4. The Red Bull's on it this evening. It's fair to say. Of course, Red Bull being the LFR team. As at least. And Pace Pantera goes P2. Big improvements for him on that lap. It's 37.8. Puts himself in a P2. That's a fantastic lap as well. He's getting the 37s. You're properly on it. Julian looks like he's on an in lap at the moment. Architect, I think, is 2. Try and find somebody who's pushing on this. Robbie's flying. Robbie definitely flying. 0.4 of a second up. He could be looking at 37 here. He's got a fantastic toe from Pyro. Pyro has almost done his hard work in this one. Pyro down in the pit lane. He will very, very late. What can Robbie do? Crosses the line. It's a 37.9. Currently, the second row is locked out by the AlphaTauri team, by the CPI team, and it's Pyro from Robbie in 3rd and 4th. Ibit dives into the pit lane. Ragnar coming through the final couple of corners. Got Julian, I think, about ready to dive in the pit lane as well. Could he get a bit of a late toe off of the Red Bull car before finishing his lap? I don't think he'll quite about get there, but DRS wide open, shortest run to the line. Actually, he's going to dive into the pit lane at the last minute because it was a little bit down. Lancia Hinks on an in lap 2. Hey, that's an interesting line across the chicane, but he's on an in lap 2. Looks like Robbie's coming in as well. So we've got a brief lull in qualifying before it all kicks off once again. I'm sure it will kick off once again. A few drivers already on the rally. Both of the QVR cars are on track. They seem to be the first ones almost in every set of runs. There's normally 3 runs in qualifying, I find, and they want to go in that first group, if you like. So Gary out on track as well. There's only 3 cars out ready for their final runs. 2 minutes and 45 seconds left in qualifying. And I think, well, we followed Verstappen on the first time, so we'll follow Campbell this time around. Those guys being the first ones to go for lap times. We'll keep an eye on who's coming out of the pit lane as well. I think we've got Rocco out. We've got one of McLaren, that's me Viper, out. Is that an Alpine? It's a Williams. It's going to be Dave who's come out as well. We're going to follow Campbell. DRS wide open for this final run in qualifying. Currently down in P10. The thing I love is 210 to put him up to sort of 5th. You know, surely there's a bit of time on the table for him to find, and I'm sure if anyone can find it, he can. Cars, of course, the problem with going early, he got the traffic to deal with. DRS wide open, he may have put him off a little bit, but he's got through relatively unscathed. His teammate up the road will give them a warning almost, if you like. Campbell, those slams on the brakes, just around the 100-metre board, gets the car in pretty perfect on entry and exit. Climbing up to 5th gear, comes down into 3rd. Both of the QVR cars like a bit of a short shave, like to run the higher gears, just to dull the sort of torque of the engine and just help almost a traction control, if you will. 4th gear on exit now for Campbell. He climbs up through the gears, thinking about turn 7. So easy to cut the inside, and he does that pretty perfectly, using all the curb and a little bit more. Now throw it into the castle section. How committed are you? How much you trust your car and setup? Throws the car up at the top of the hill, this sort of switchback, this swinging switchback, as he now heads back up the hill to the highest point of the circuit elevation-wise, ready for the plummet down towards turn 15 and the bottom end of the circuit. Look at that combination time. We'll see how much he's up. He needs to find a couple of tenths, I think it's fair to say, if he wants to be right at the sharp end, right out of the ducking out of the last minute. It was the Alpine, but he's 2/10 of a second up. He's on purple in the middle sector. This could be a great time from Campbell. You'd hope it's in the 37s. You're sure it's in the 37s. You'll get a late tow from one of the McLarens. I think that's going to be Pikachu. This could be a lightning final sector from Campbell, using all his ERS and a little bit more. Crosses line. It's a 37.9. That's a fantastic time. His teammate was 5 thousandths of a second quicker. He's 2 places up the road. Great stuff from Verstappen, and the QVR cars giving it everything on the final run. I do want to try and watch Lee's lap, and he's going very, very slowly. Pace Panteras is out. He's crashed at the wall. We'll try and see who is going to be next to sort of set the times, if you will. Pyro going well. Currently in P4 for CPI. One of the McLarens, I think, will be next. That's going to be Viper. The checker flag is out now. Lee did not make it. He decided potentially that he didn't need to go once more, so we're going to try and follow somebody else. Jerome is pushing. Robbie stays P6. I don't think he made it either with his particular effort. Julian committed through turn 15. I think that's the make or break corner really of the lap, if you will. How much speed you dare to take in. He's 2/10 of a second up. He runs a little bit wide, gets away with it by using the curb. This could be a 37.8. This could challenge P2 from Julian. Are LFR going to lock out the front row here? Rocco's a tyre somewhere on track. That's in the pit lane. We don't have to worry about that. Julian, though, is looking to make this an LFR 1-2 here in qualifying. Can the Rebels lock out the front row? It's a 37.8. So far, the Red Bulls have the front row. Verstappen trying to go again, but he's run out of ERS. So Viper's P6. Jordan invalidated his time, I think, as well, with one of the Alfa Romeos. Gary's pushing a little bit further back, but he's well down on times. Dave found some big improvements right at the end. What can Brent do from P17? There's traffic everywhere as he tries to weave his way through. Side by side with an Alfa Romeo. Can he find improvements on this lap? It's going to be a 38.1. Brent finds 4/10 and only goes up in a P12. That's how close it is here in the Esports League. Is anyone still pushing? Pyro goes P2. Oh no, that was a minute. I missed that completely. He went P2 a while ago. Campbell coming in. Architect cross the line. Goes P5 in the Haas of EVG. And if XL Gary's not pushing, which he is not, we are done and dusted here in qualifying. Just Lee who takes pole position here for round number 10 of the DTR Esports League here in Baku, Azerbaijan. And that is a stonking lap time of a 37.6. Pyro is in P2 for CPI. And, well, it's no longer an LFR front row, but still a mega team effort, I think it's fair to say. So we got Lee from Pyro from Julian, Then Face Pantera, Architect, Izza, Verstappen, Viper, Camel, Robbie, round out your top 10. But look how close it is. From first all the way down to, well, last is 1.2 seconds, but the top, well, the top 16 is separated by 5/10. It's so close here, and I would like to have a quick look at Pyro's final sectors. 24-4. I know there was some good team play here coming from the 24-4. Seems to be the optimum final sector. 24-2. I mean, that's mega from Lee. Fantastic. That's where he found all his time. Must have got a fantastic day. Of course, we didn't see it, unfortunately. But there we have it. LFR on pole position. LFR in third. Surely they're the team to beat here this evening. Currently only 11 points to their name. 11 points in Austria. Of course, we have the sprint race in Austria as well. Could they be looking for a late charge in this championship? How far could they climb up the order? And as we said earlier on, if you didn't join our sort of broadcast from the start, the rain is here in Baku. When will it end? I'm not quite sure. But it is here. It's going to spice up the race. Maybe some people are running a bit of a hybrid or even a wet setup. But the skies don't look too dark up above, so I'm kind of hoping we're going to get that transition from wet to dry. One thing I can guarantee, it's going to be chaotic. It's going to be entertaining. And I wouldn't put your money on the pole sitters to win this one. We saw from qualifying, he's absolutely rapid. But I think it could get a little bit chaotic here in Baku. Of course, it tends to normally do even when it's dry. But, of course, mixed conditions can always throw a spanner in the works. Is it intermediates? Is it wet weather tyres? We're about to find out. As the cars are on the grid, they're ready to go. And it's time for the start of the formation lap. And it is intermediate tyres. The standing water isn't too much. And we'll get the tyres up straight away. And everyone, of course, gone the same way on that. But it's Lee who leads you. Lee leads you. That was a good one. Round the formation lap. And we'll run through your 19 drivers here this evening. We got Lee, who is struggling to get the car in on the formation lap. The tyres seem to be very cold. Needs to get some temperature. He's almost went into the wall there on the formation lap. But it's Lee from Pyro, who not quite aggressively weaving, but there we go. Julian is P3. Face Pantera is 4th. Architect is 5. You've got Izza in P6. 7th is QVR, and Viper's in a bit of a QVR sandwich because Campbell's in P9. Robbie is 10th. Jerome's 11th. It's DTR 12th and 13th with Wesley Brent. Then you've got Ferrari. XL is 14th and 15th, and Rocco and Gary. PG 16th. Dave 17th. Ragnar 18th, and Lancy rounds out your 19 drivers in P19. We've got 26 laps ahead of us. About 153 kilometres, if my maths is correct. And that was almost into the wall there. Lee just seems to be struggling on this formation lap for some reason. I don't know if he's pushing a certain degree, but just from my perspective, I'm sure I don't think you can get wing damage on the formation lap, but just it doesn't seem too happy out front. Really having to work the front tyres quite aggressively here, and well, I'm sure that will all change when we get underway, when we get racing. But still, I'm not convinced by this formation lap. But we'll see. Once it's all in anger, I'm sure it'll be a much different story. Further down the order, Gary's been disqualified from the formation lap. And Ragnar hanging back quite a bit. Not too sure what's going on there. And he's hit the wall quite substantially there as well. So I think we could see maybe a little bit of chaos here. How have we got to Mercedes? Oh, Face Pantera's dropped back massively as well. He's near the back. I'm not too sure what's happening with this formation lap. One thing I do know is we're about to get racing here for round number 10 of the DTR Esports League. There is Gary, who is going to struggle off the start. Those cold tyres. But Lee can see nobody else in front of him. He's got the clear grid. He's got the grid almost to himself. But there are 18 drivers right behind, ready to give chase into turn 1. It's not the longest run into turn 1, but it will be a competitive one, I am sure. Just waiting for a few drivers to slot into position, but everybody is on the grid here. in the centre of Baku. The Baku city circuit is where we are. Just waiting for a few people to get readied up. We've got the predicted pit stop strategy there, just to remind you, but we have 2, 3, 4 and 5 red lights here in Baku. And it's lights out and away we go. Who can get the best of the starts? It looks like Lee has got away. He's actually got a mega start. Everyone getting away in pretty much order. It's almost as they were. The Ferrari looking to go down the inside further back with Face Montero. Look for a move on Julian, but no way through just yet. Architect maybe wants to try and find a way around the outside of the Mercedes. And actually, Face Montero, give him full credit. He's gone down the inside of the Red Bull. Great move there. And looks like Lee struggled out of the first couple of corners. He struggled into turn 2 once more, and he's getting gobbled up from Pyro and Pantera behind. Has he got a bit of an issue? He's almost backing off there, and he's going to be dropping down into P5 now. The Alpine's going to go down the inside. That is moving his way up the order, and actually Julian's up in a P2, so that place he lost on the first couple of corners, he's got straight back. And Pyro, though, has got a 1.3 second lead out front. QVR cars. I think Warren Campbell's made up a few positions, Viper's made up a few positions as well. And further down the order, Lanty making a move on Ragnar. We got a collision further back, because what's happening here? The Ferrari's facing the wrong way. It's Rocco facing the wrong way. He's managed to get going once more. There's chaos further back. People just struggling to get the traction down. That was almost 2, 3 abreast at some points here. The Williams of Dave in 12th. Pushing there, Robbie seeing the back of Campbell. And the QVR cars line astern. We'll get the position changes up just to try and almost understand what is going on. And Campbell has held position. Is actually the swap between Viper and Verstappen as what we've seen. But it's Lee, the big loser in this one, seems to really be struggling in these conditions. We've got the predictions almost right from the formation lap. He's into the wall. That's surely going to be a bit of damage. It's going to bunch everybody up behind. And I think we're going to see that Red Bull into the pit lane. It's not gone his way on this first lap of the race. Viper goes down the inside of Lee. Architect goes down the inside of Lee. And it's a nightmare start for LFR's lead driver, if you will. As he bashes, Architect maybe give a slight touch to the wall there. Verstappen's go down. It's a drag race now down towards turn number 1. Pyros at the fast lap race. He is not bothered at all. 2.3 seconds clear out in front. Is it going to go down the inside of the Mercedes? Mercedes, of course, made his way up into P2 from the start of this one. And now dropping down the order. Got 3 drivers into the pit lane at the end of this one. Architect and Lee, of course, both hitting the wall we saw. And I think Dave has probably done the same. Pikachu coming in as well. Will Wesley follow suit? I think he has. So not going the way of the DTR driver as well. But on lap number 2, things have started to settle down a little bit. Chaos of lap 1 is over. Only 4 and 5 into the pit lane. It could have been worse, I think it's fair to say. But nevertheless. So who seems to be on it at the moment? Pyros, well, he got into the lead. I think he looked like Lee just went deep into turn 2. We saw him do it on the formation lap. Did it again, and well, Pyro just got the exit and drove straight past. It seems to be liking these wet conditions, sliding about a little bit, but keeping well under control. And the times are backing that up. But actually, Julian through the castle section just seems to be a bit more smooth. Again, a couple of attempts on entry. Further back, Pantera is only one of 2 drivers to maintain position. In the end, he actually got a really good start. Worked his way up to actually what was second, but unfortunately, Julian and Izza found their way past. Got a move shaping up further back. Gary locking up, but he finds a way past Jerome, getting much better drive. It seems out of turn 12 through 13 and 14, and get the move done by turn 15. Locking up a little bit. Jerome got wing damage. I take that back. He hasn't got a front wing. I don't think. He does not, so he's had a big hit with a wall somewhere. It's going to get a little bit messy. And somehow they negotiate their way around the outside of him. And actually, I think Pyro's made a mistake somewhere. He's lost about a second. And now he's well within the clutches of Julian and Izza. As Ragnar into the pit lane, as well as Jerome. Jerome's had a bit of an incident there as well. We didn't quite see. Yellow flags are out in sector 3. That is for Dave. Dave is out of the race. Virtual safety car has been called out. We'll try and see if we can see. I think he just had a big moment, and then unfortunately he just slid down the track. So easy to do. If you're running that low downforce kind of dry setup, we're not quite sure in the commentary box, but we're expecting maybe it to dry up a little bit later on. You might be running quite low wings, and it could be difficult, especially in these conditions, just to keep the car altogether. But we got a brief moment just to recollect ourselves, have a think about that start. And well, it's gone all the way of Pyro so fast. Great job from the CPI driver. Julian as well, up in a P2, started third. And unfortunately, the one, for his sake, unfortunately, the one he's got past is Lee, his teammate, dropping 11 places from pole position. It just didn't go his way. He didn't look comfortable in the formation lap, clipping the wall a few times on that. And unfortunately, did it at the second corner. I think that's what cost him, really, as he then got swallowed by the rest of the field. It was a good drive. Great start from Vipe, making up a couple of positions. Getting past Verstappen, notably on the first lap, and then just avoiding a few who unfortunately found the wall here and there. Look at Gary as well, up 5, up 3 for Rocco. And we're racing once again. It's a drive-through penalty for Campbell. Jumping the restart there, it's so easy to do. But look who's got the best of the start. It's Viper down the inside of Pantera. That's an unorthodox place to make the move. And actually, Pantera's into the wall. Of course, on the outside, he then drifted a bit wide, and he smashed into the wall, unfortunately, as just offline completely, not having the aero. You'd want to take the corner at that speed, and well, you got to give credit to Viper almost. He took the opportunity where it was. Pantera dives into the pit lane, and that promotes Robbie up into P6. Camel serving his drive through. Bren up in a P7 now, and Gary up into P8, making it Ferrari 8th and 9th, Excel 8th and 9th. Up at the front, the gap's still a second when the virtual safety car came out. Slight dab of lock up, but he managed to almost re-engage the brake and correct that straight away. Where has Campbell come out? And he's just in P10, so still within the points there is Campbell, despite that drive through. Took it straight away, which I think is probably a good call to get that one out of the way before anything happens later on, if anything happens later on. A quick check on conditions. It looks like as you can all see, it's still raining here in Baku, but maybe not as much as the start. There's still quite a bit of spray, so hoping this rain will dry up. I just like that to give us something a little bit more. Jerome pressure in the back of Ragnar. Has got Lee into the lane once more. Not happy in these wet conditions is our pole sitter, and that's Ragnar holding it on the inside because he went on the outside, which becomes the inside. But again, that switches the inside for Jordan, keeps it nice and tight. The Haas is still there. They've somehow avoided the wall. I've looked the wrong way, and I got a better drive around the outside, and Jordan keeps ahead and stays in P12. Further up the road, Robbie's lost position to Gary. Gary clips the wall. Can Robbie come back at him? He's going to go around the outside in between the Ferrari and the wall. Robbie hasn't got a front wing. That's why he's been overtaken. Not sure whereabouts he lost it, but unfortunate for the CPI driver. He will have to come into the pit lane and actually does the fair and sort of sensible thing of letting Rocco through. No need to sort of make it a bit awkward there, because we've already seen that here this evening. Viper sets the fastest lap of the race. He's got a nice little 2 seconds in front of him that he can start eating into if he keeps this pace up. Get the old lap data up to help us out with the old lap times. Ferrari changed down a Ferrari, changed that at Excel. That could have been a bit orchestrated as Rocco runs a little bit wide. Might have picked up a warning for that, but not quite sure. Excuse me, on that front. Gary goes a little lock up, runs a little bit wide. Where's Robbie kind of coming back out onto circuit? Can he get ahead of that sort of P12 all the way down to sort of P15 battle? The answer to that is no. He's just going to be behind it, unfortunately for him. He rejoins P15 on the circuit. Sort of a lull in proceedings. I think, well, we've probably done quite well to only have one retiree so far in this one. But Pyro doing everything he needs to be doing to stay in the lead of this race. Looks pretty comfortable out front at the moment, keeping that gap now just over a second back to Julian. They're both sort of using the curb a little bit wide there from Izza, but actually sort of carried the speed quite well and did gain a little bit on Julian on the run down towards turn 16. How much are they feathering the throttle? A fair bit, to be fair. Good management, you know. It's almost that extra level that, you know, if you're not taking it flat, you want to keep the throttle on, and well, that's what these guys are doing, it seems. That's why they're the best of the best. and racing in this esports league rather than the likes of probably me and maybe some of you watching. I'm sure some of you watching are absolutely rapid as well. A Viper at 51.8 for him, eating into that gap. It was 2 and a bit seconds. It's now come down. Brent dives into the pit lane. Is it a front wing change? Is it a change of tyres? It is a front wing change. He's clipped the wall somewhere, and I think Gary may have done the exact same thing. We see one of the Ferrari mechanics sort of lifting that front wing and ready to slot it on. They could at least have done the animation properly, so there's not a front wing there. Whilst he's trying to change it, Jerome sets the new fastest lap of the race. Are the conditions improving, or is it a case of drivers acclimatising to the circuit, to the wet weather? And we're going to find out. Viper still pushing at the moment. Is closed in on Julian. Julian seems to be the one to adapt quickest to the conditions, but now everyone's catching up. It seems maybe Izza and Viper just a little bit quicker. Viper able to take that sort of really nicely tight on the inside, on the right there, which opens up the left a little bit more for him, and he probably will be gaining all the way up the hill. The second separates third and fourth. 8/10 separates second and third. Actually, that gap out front is almost underneath a second. Returns in to 16. Chasing pack behind are definitely chasing. It's fair to say. Oh, I love a helicopter shot. Looks so gorgeous in the whole, like being in the centre of the city. As we follow the Alpine, just about keeps it out the wall. Using a fair bit of ERS. You don't tend to use as much in these sort of wet conditions, as Pikachu's made the move on Robbie. That was into the castle section, I think, so that would have been I thought you would miss that. That would have been a pretty cool move to have a look at. Is at 52.6, half a second back from Julian. It's quite a close battle as well at the moment. Down for P13. Lancey under pressure from Pikachu and Robbie. Robbie's had a big moment, but it seems to hold it well. He did shoot out a fair bit towards the left-hand side. Yellow flag in sector 2, and that's Lee into the wall once more. Unfortunately for him, he gets going without too much trouble, but missing that front wing. I think it may be his third trip into the pit lane. Jerome goes even faster with 51.4. Is Pikachu close enough to go for the move on Lancey? He's going to go round the outside. He's going to go the long way. Lancey covers the inside. Hopefully we'll flick away at the right moment. We haven't. And he's gone a little bit deep. He's gone into the wall. As Pikachu, and down the inside comes Robbie. A bit of touching, and he's gone in deep. Spins the car around. I don't think he's best pleased with that, and has run himself into the wall a little bit here. Cameron would make the move though for 13th. Just holds back for the time being. Decides not to send it in these tricky conditions. And whilst we've been watching that, back up at the front, the gaps are pretty much just under a second between the top four. Bit of mistake there from Izza. That's given Viper the incentive. Who can get the better exit? Green lights flashing away now in front of the drivers. He's almost kept it flat, had to lift off completely. That's going to kill his momentum altogether. I don't think Viper will quite be close enough by the time they get to put the brakes on. They're really using a lot of ERS. These guys want to try and make up the positions now if they can, and he's not going to be close enough to make a move. Unfortunately, by the time they slam the brakes, down at turn number 1, the 89. McLaren, Lee comes out of the pit lane. I mean, that is, I know it's ghosting, but still, it's not ideal at all. Will that give Viper the advantage? If he's ghosted, does he still give a tow? He must do, because Viper's not closed on Izza at all. It's been quite interesting to see Lee just sort of amongst the front runners. He will get a penalty if he doesn't move out of the way. Jerome again improving his lap time. Coming towards the back of FaZe Pantera. That move could be on very shortly, but a move that could be on is Lancey under pressure from Robbie. Robbie goes to the inside, finds a way through. Who dares to be later on the brakes? Robbie actually tucks back in. Architect almost collects the Alfa Romeo as he slotted back into the train. And it's still Lancey, Robbie. Architect is your order for 13th, 14th and 15th. As Pikachu is into the pit lane for NRL. Not really going too well for the bottom three drivers at the moment. I think it's fair to say. Oxford looking once more for a move on Robbie. But no way through. At the moment, the front four still separated by not a lot. Almost pushing each other around. And how has Lee not got a penalty? Because surely the blue flag's just been shown for him for like half a lap would have given him a penalty at this point. But anyway, he's keeping with the front guys, so the pace has definitely been there. Just maybe lacking the fundamental grip in the car. But looking to move now is Viper. Is Viper close enough? The gap's 2/10. Of course, the advantage Izza has. He's getting a tow from Julian just in front. Is Julian coming to the pit lane? I think he is. Julian's into the pits. Interesting what that's for. Down the inside goes the McLaren. On Izza, makes it stick, just about keeps it all together. Verstappen watching on from foot just behind. Was it a front wing change? Must be. He's been held for quite a while. I can't see it. Can we see another front wing there? They've got a front wing? We'll never know. We will never know. I think he has probably put a front wing on. Double lock up from Izza, but keeps it all together. Lee now in Viper in P2. Lee still being shown blue flags. I don't know how he hasn't got a penalty yet. Anyway, the rain's still coming down. Hopefully we don't get a full wet race. Not sure whether it's full rain for the race. Wasn't given all of that information on my little tip. Robbie into the once more. Yeah, unfortunately, some guys are having a difficult race, and we've got a big crash. Big crash. Lee into the wall and was collected by... So Lee's hit the wall. Just sort of minding her own business. And has Viper got damage from that? I don't get that, because Lee was ghosted. Like, how has that happened? Lee, unfortunately, lost it in the castle section. See if we can try and go on board with the Mercedes to try and have a look at what's really gone on here. Is he still there? No, he's disappeared. So it looked like Lee lost it into the castle section. I will go back on the stream and try and explain what happened there. We were on board at the time. So Viper, of course, was in P2, enjoying life. We've got some fuel burning going on here. Viper will be straight into the pit lane to repair that front wing, which replace it. Izza coming into pit lane as well. Pyro's in too, so then they're making use of this safety car, I assume for a new set of intermediates. But I'm rewatching it now. So we've got Pyro in P1, Lee, who is a lapped car, and being given blue flags in P2. You've then got the McLaren of Viper in, who's actually in a net second but third in the train of cars. So it looks like Lee's gone into... right, actually I'll take that back. Lee's clipped the inside wall. Viper's copied him and they both smashed into the wall. Viper's then been rear-ended by Izza. Because, it's the castle section, you can't get out of the way. I don't think Lee being there would have helped. He probably should have moved out of the way, sort of by the rules, but... Yeah, they've not actually come together. He's just copied his incident, almost. But, it is what it is. Unfortunately, of course, Lee doesn't want to get out of the way. He's got the pace, and he did have the pace to stay in sync with the leaders, if you like. But if you get blue flags, you've got to move out of the way. That's, unfortunately, in my opinion, it's not the opinion you want to have. It's not the fun way for the person who's being lapped, but... Anyway. Unfortunately, our pole sitter is out of the race. And with a safety car, that just kind of neutralises things for a little bit. Unfortunately, Wesley will probably want to try and sneak past if he can. He's the only car that is actually technically a lap down at the moment. And anyway, lap 9 out of 26. Still a long way to go in this race. We're just roughly at about third distance. I'd love for it to dry up. If anyone does know, can you tell me if it does dry up? I just want to know. I always want that reassurance that we're going to get a bit of dry running in this race. I think it will be fascinating having that changeover point, and also just the good to have some nice dry racing, if you will, and a bit of DRS play and stuff like that. But the race has been neutralised for a moment or two. If I was Wesley, I'd just force my way through, take a 5-second penalty or something, and just carry on. If anyone's in a party with him, can you try and tell him that? Of course, the slight DTR bias sneaking through a little bit. But we'll run through the order. We'll get at the old pit stops as well. Who has and hasn't? Actually, everybody's made a pit stop, so I imagine everyone's made a pit stop in this period. And everybody's got fresh intermediates on as well, so that's good to know. But your new race leader, after a bit of chaos, it's Izza from Pyro. And Pyro maybe he's changed a bit of front wing in the stops, why he's lost the lead. But he has been your leader pretty much since the second corner. You've got Verstappen in third slowly. He's made his way up the order, avoided the chaos, and, well, is in third at the moment. You've got Viper in fourth. He was in second, but sort of part of that safety car bringing out incident. So Viper in fourth. You've got Julian in fifth. Another driver who's been up near the front, and somebody who wants to burn fuel at the moment because he's absolutely smashing the hell out of that rev limiter. In fourth gear just then. You've got Rocco in sixth, QVR Campbell in seventh, Pantera is eighth, Jordan ninth, Brent Ranzine, your top 10. Then comes Gary. It's the two EVG Haas cars of Ragnar and Argisek. Then it's Lancy. Robbie, fortunately, he's not gone his way in this race. And then Pikachu, who is trying to catch the back of the field. And then Wesley, who is in amongst the back of the field, well, in amongst the heart of the field, it's fair to say. Yeah, is the leads. So far, you've got to say it's all going the way of Ariel once more. They will be extending their championship lead if things stay as they were. I'm pretty sure they won't stay as they are. In terms of the finishing order, if all 17 stay in the position they're in at the moment, I mean, that'll be one hell of a boring race. From here on out, I'm sure that won't happen. But nevertheless, I say it every time, I do like a helicopter shot. It is nice, visually. They do look very, very cool from the heli cam. The cars, and the game in general, really. As we head down towards turn number 16, will the safety car be coming in this lap? I don't think it will. I'd imagine it's the next one. So we've got a bit of another lap to sort of chat amongst ourselves, if you will. And what's anyone's predictions? I'd like to know a bit of that. Where does anyone else think this race is going to go? We've seen who's really quick in the wet. Will we get a bit of dry running? I'm trying to see the sort of the sky, if you will. It doesn't look like it's going to get any worse. It's quite light up above, so hopefully we're nearing a bit of a changeover point. I don't know if it's the camera angle, but is the rain sort of diminishing a little bit? Not really. Who would I put my money on in this point? You think, well, you've got to give it to Verstappen sort of in this first phase of the race. He's made his way up the order, avoided the chaos, and now currently sits in third. Jerome, we've seen been setting in the fastest laps of the race. Can we get a fastest lap thing up? Ah, we can. Look at that. That's pretty good. Right, so I'll have a bit of a fast lap analysis, if you will. I reckon everybody's roughly had a clean lap at some point in this race, maybe apart from Wesley, but I mean, he's probably got a bit more than a 2-minute 2 in him. But Jerome's 51.4, that's 1.2 seconds quicker than the top two. You got Viper, who again he's got much better pace than the top three, or everyone in front of him. I think it could be interesting once we get going again. Can Jerome? He seems to have a bit of a pace advantage in these conditions. Can he make his way up the order? Can he get up to sort of into the top 5 maybe before it potentially dries? I really hope it dries. I don't think with this sort of these few delays it's going to dry. But it is interesting. I think there's sort of a bit of a pace there. So a lot of guys in sort of the mid 52s, but a few dipping into the 51s that could, if they're close enough, pounce on a move. But again, conditions are so difficult, it's hard to make the move. And I think, well, what the top three have to benefit from is they've got Wesley in the way, just to hold Viper back on the restart. Of course, Wesley, I imagine, is very, very sensible and will obey blue flags, but still, just there's a bit more of a distance between between third and fourth, having the lap runner in the way. We will get going this lap, so I'll flick back to the old interval. And there is the confirmation from race control. The safety car is in this lap. And is it a Comes to Defecto safety car? We've gone from the Mercedes safety car to the Alpine safety car. And he will back the pack up, and it's the most awkward of all the safety car restarts because it's on a straight rather than you can't actually launch off the corner here, which always makes it a little bit more awkward. So when will he decide to go? Will he leave it late? Leave as little room as possible for a rival to make a move, because it is a short run from the start finish line towards turn one? Or will he go early and try and catch people a little bit off guard? We're going to look from the back. We'll look off the rear view mirror. And there he goes, he's put the power down, he's gone up into overtake, and he's caught a few people napping. It seems further back, if Verstappen seems to be a bit of a gap. Actually, Verstappen's in no man's land, in a way. And as Viper tries to shape up a move, potentially we head into turn one once more. XL, Rocket looking for a move, he's going to sneak down the inside of the Red Bull. He might get a better exit than Julian. He will have the inside line. Jordan's doing exactly the same on face Pantera. The Ferrari still wheel to wheel between the pair, and they just about keep it out of the wall. And now it's a drag race once again. Jordan has made the move stick on Pantera. Will Julian look for a move down the inside? He wants to regain this position, but I don't think he's going to quite do it. Just about getting on the brakes, as Pantera's going to lose 2 positions. Brent goes clean around the outside of the Mercedes driver. Can he seal the move off? He's going to have the inside line, but it looks like the Mercedes is a little bit ahead. Bit of a sort of a tank slapper there, obviously, for Brent. He just couldn't get the power down, and Pantera keeps hold of P9. Brent stays P10. We're going into turn 7 once more. Difficult corner, especially in these conditions. You want to judge it perfectly. With the amount of curbing you use, Jerome seems to be the one who's on it already. Once we get going on this safety car restart, Wesley keeping our way, banging blue flags at this point. Yellow flag is in sector 2, and it's just Wesley actually just slowing down a little bit, but some people up. Robbie seems to be on it. Robbie closing in on Lancey, hits the back of the Mercedes. Hits the back of Mercedes once more. Double lock up. I think he's been hit from Pikachu as well. And everyone's getting hit at the moment. Another lock up there. And Face Pantera coming back at Jordan. Jordan not having the best of runs in that middle of start of final sectors. Of course, flashing away in the rain rather than being low on ERS. And the Mercedes driver regained the position he lost at the start of the last lap. Approaching VMAX, Jordan covers the inside. Jordan's in the pit lane. He has hit the wall, I think. And that is a big blow for him, who seems to be the fastest driver on the circuit. Unfortunately, losing a lot of position. Got 3 drivers in the pit lane. Ragnar and Pikachu doing the same. I think that was some sort of from some of the rear ending we saw a little bit at the end of that last lap. But nevertheless, we are over half race distance officially as well. Again, the top I think the top 4 definitely as they were. Of course, Rocco's made that move on Julian. Campbell's still in where he was. Pantera's back to where he was because Jerome's come into the pit lane. So Brent, Gary and Architect will gain positions. And is he at the wall? I think he's at the wall there. Well, that's what that noise was, rather than a bit of a tap from behind. And as we go into the castle section for the 14th time this evening. All being very well behaved. Actually, we can quite a fair bit of speed as well. Campbell trying to put Julian under a bit of pressure. He's already lost 1 place from the safety car restart. Doesn't want to lose another. Big lock-up. It's such a difficult corner to get slowed down the dry, let alone the wet. Just to judge, just to judge it all. Further down the order, Architect trying to get into that top 10, but a difficult exit getting on top of the curbs. Yellow flag in sector 2 and 3. Unfortunately, that is Wesley facing the wrong way and lacking a front wing as well. We're further back at the front. Viper's lost position to Rocco. I think that probably was for a mistake as well. Because Viper definitely was right at the back of Verstappen. We try and regain that position straight off the bat. No, he won't. Not quite close enough, and got a safety car out. Maybe just for Unfortunately, Wesley's slow recovery from facing the wrong way. But the safety car is out on track. But the rain is still coming down here in Azerbaijan. All right, it's back. I've not seen your name for a while. Anyway, nevertheless. Safety car out once more. Here on lap 15. And the order so far is at Pyro and Verstappen, the same as it was at the end of the last safety car period we just had. But the race resets once more. Will we see everyone dive into the pit lane once again, into the end from here? Of course, the majority, well, all the top 12 pitted for that first safety car we had. Will they risk track position, come in? Of course, it's very difficult to kind of judge it going to the end from here. Sorry, no. If they could go for the end from here rather than coming in, because of course if the top 3 decide to come in and the rest stay out, they're going to lose loads of positions and not have that much fresher tyres in a way, if you will. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. Of course, Izza's got that really annoying and unfortunate position of what's kind of being the guinea pig. If he comes in, does everyone else stay out, or does everyone follow him? Or if he stays out and everyone else comes in, everyone else will have fresher tyres. It's a difficult one to play. I imagine under safety car conditions they would stay out ahead of Jordan, Robbie and Co. Co is in the rest rather than someone called Co. Co being one more, it's Ragnar. Yeah, picture is a little bit further back than that. Anyway, bit of a dummy here. What's he going to do? They're going to stay out. Are they all going to stay out? Verstappen stays out. Viper trying to do a bit of a dummy. I think everyone's just prioritising a bit of track position. We've seen a few dummies into the pit lane, but everyone deciding to stay out on this one. The rain's still coming down, so I think unfortunately we are going to get rain to the end. I was kind of speaking about this dry period, sort of hoping it would come, but I think we're going to get, unlike we saw in Monaco last weekend, we are going to get rain until the end of the Grand Prix. 10 laps to go. Probably 8 or 9 once the safety car is in. I would imagine 8, but the field now bunching up behind the safety car. Now, who are your big winners so far in this one? Well, it's Rocco. I think it's fair to say, and actually quite a few of the guys at the front, we got 5 position gain for Reza Pyro staying where he was. Verstappen at 4, Rocco at 10. So far, I think it's got to be given that driver today a good move on Julian. We saw on the safety car restart. I didn't quite see the move on Viper. I think he may have sort of suffered a poor exit, a bit of a moment. I saw him drop back. Julian down 3, unfortunately, not a good race for LFR after, well, a very, very good qualifying of P1 and P3 on the grid, and it's so far resulted in P6 on track and 18th DNF. Camel up 2 as well. Pantera's lost a few positions. Oh, I love helicopter shot. We'll go back to that. We'll look at the rest of the field in a few moments' time. We got quite like this gold building as well. Should have come with sort of a building fact file. I might try and do that for the next. We haven't got any more city circuits, have we? That's a shame. Nevertheless, if anyone's got any facts on that cool gold building, I'd love to know them. Anyway, Face Pantera 8th, Brent up 4 in P9, Gary's up 5 in P10. Robbie's out. What's happened there? Oh, that's a bit silly on the old safety car. Not sure what's happened there. A bit of a lock-up maybe, straight into the wall. Can we try and see what's happened? I'm sure we disappear by the time we get there, but that's not ideal for Robbie. He seems a pretty good pace in this race, in all honesty. And he's just, I think he's maybe had a bit of a... Oh, Pyro's in the pit lane. From P2 on track, Pyro is into the pit lane. I think both Alfa Romeos have gone into the wall on this lap. I've never seen that sideways jack before. Let's see the dude in the Alfa Romeo. Look at him with the jack on the right hand side. I've never seen that. Huh. But Pyro from P2 will rejoin in P14. I'm sure both Alfa Romeos have done the same thing. And the CPI fans and management will be kicking themselves, because it's gone from, well, a podium position and a driver out of position with a lot of pace to a DNF and P14. Far from ideal, and he seems to be struggling on the brakes. He's hit the wall again. Struggling to get this Alfa Romeo slowed down. We saw it for Lee on the formation lap. Just struggling with the braking maybe in these slightly slower speeds and judging how to sort of do it. I'm not sure, but it seems both Alfa Romeos have hit the wall at turn 15. It is a difficult corner, but surely on the safety car you leave yourself a bit of a margin. I really don't know what's gone on here for them. Pirate 14th. Willie's coming again, because he hit the wall on the inside trying to avoid Ragnar. I hope he doesn't have to come in again. Visually, he looks okay on the front wing. Still got both end plates where they should be. But unfortunately, that comment has they've sort of exploded. Summed it up pretty well. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think you can blame Ericsson on any of this. And actually, that's Jordan missing the front wing as well. Another driver who, well, if you believe what the lap times say, he's the fastest car on track. He has the fastest lap. But what he doesn't have is a front wing. The safety car is not coming in this lap, so he's gonna have the opportunity to pit, but he probably will lose. He will probably come out in P15, so it's not the end of the world. But still, just what is happening here in Baku? People are struggling on the safety car laps, on the formation laps. It's a little bit puzzling, in all honesty. Jordan sending it into the pit lane. Well, the front wing did a pretty good job of slowing it down. Brenton as well. What is going on with front wings here? I've never seen that side person jack. Is that new? I've never seen it. I've watched many a pit stop on this game, and I've never seen that side person jack. That doesn't happen in the real world either, I don't think. We've learned lots in this safety car, I think it's fair to say. Unfortunately, the braking is the one we wish we didn't learn, and people are definitely struggling on the brakes. But I said it earlier. Look at Verstappen, he's up 5 places. He's had his own race, and he's now up to P2. So far, it's going all the way of Verstappen, and is a rock up as well. He's now sat in the podium. He started in P14. You know, it's going well for him. That's what Excel have always done this season. For me, they've always been that team that they don't have to do anything sort of particularly extraordinary. You know, they might not have, don't get me wrong, their drivers are absolutely rapid, but you know, you don't normally see them on pole, you don't normally see them in the top couple, but just through the race they just seem to find a way to get to the front. And you've got to give Rocco full plaudits here this evening. That he's had a very good pace, he's avoided the chaos, and he's now sat on the podium. And that's why I think I've got a screen in front of me, but like 2nd and 3rd in the championship. That's why they're there. And I think it was Rocco, or it was either Rocco or Gary actually, won Bahrain. New turn of strategy just worked for them, and that was it. They made the first stint go long, reacted to a safety car, and won the race. But so far, the strategy is very much in their favour. However, a safety car is in this lap. You can hear me stop stalling now. As much as I'm sure you're enjoying listening to me waffle on, we can get racing once again. And Izza will lead them once more. I think once more. And we'll look behind once more to see Verstappen. We'll see Rocco. We can see Viper. They're ready to react. How early will Izza go? We went relatively early last time, and it caught most of the field napping. I think it's much easier to catch the field napping on these sort of conditions because it's so hard to put the power down. If you're expecting the power to go down, it's of course a bit easier, but if you're not expecting the power to go down, and there we go, that's a brilliant launch from Izza. Fantastic from him. He's already getting about 0.8 of a second, and the one under pressure is Verstappen as we head down towards turn 1. Bit of weaving from Gary. Further back, he was trying to get a bit of temperature in his tyres. Verstappen goes a little bit defensive and then realises I think the move is not on. They go into turn 1 as they were. At least over the top 8, Architect 9th, Lanty 10th. Change further back as Jordan Jerome goes clean around that side of Brent. They're still wheel to wheel. We look to the left-hand side. Who's later on the brakes? Round the outside, Wesley, and into the wall goes Pikachu. Into the wall goes Jerome. Pyro's got the better exit. Can Pyro make up 2 places on the exit of turn 2, heading towards turn number 3? He's going to have a bit of a slipstream from Brent. Wesley will slot in behind. It's not going to help Pikachu in the braking. Then Pikachu's gone deep. He hits, I think, Brent there. And goes deep himself, hits the wall. Slight touch. Jerome's going to try and go round or outside. This is about the 13th of anything, and it's absolutely awesome. Jerome with a slightly better bit of traction, and he's going to get the move done, I think, before turn 5 and 6, and he slots himself into 14th. Pikachu into 15th. And Brent wants to move on Ragnar. Brent's going to go down the inside. Ragnar's going to smash into the back of Lance. He's into the wall. They just about go wheel to wheel. Wesley's getting involved as well. Unfortunately, a lap down. There's a bit of contact. Brent makes the wall. There's a bit of it's absolute chaos everywhere. Is that Brent round? We've got an Alfa Romeo in the wall. Yellow flags in sector 2. Brent just about gets going, and it was just 2 into 1 does not go. And the problem was behind that 2 into 1 does not go either. It's not gone DTR's way this evening. I love that there was no safety car for that, but we had a safety car for something else earlier on. Jerome just about keeps it out of the wall despite a little bit of a lock-up. But was it Pikachu, Pyro, Ragnar, Brent, Wesley, all involved in that little incident there? Actually, Wesley wasn't because he goes through it all, but nevertheless, back at the front, Verstappen putting a bit of pressure on his lag. I'm 6 of a second, but somebody who wants to make the move is Viper. He's putting the pressure on Rocco. Can he get close enough? He's right underneath the rear wing now. He can barely see the McLaren. He looks to the inside. Who's going to be later on the brakes? The McLaren. Can he get the move done? He's had to sort of put him into the wall a little bit there. That was a bit rough and ready, but in these conditions, that's what happened, and he's lost 1 place. Is he going to lose 2? He's been put into the wall twice. He's not going to lose 2. He's going to lose 3, and Rocco, well, I think it's fair to say he's been bullied out of 3 positions there. And, well, he's bullied out of 2, and then someone made the 3rd. What's happened in the pit lane? Don't retire in the pits. I won't bitch about it. Sorry, that's a rude word. I won't complain about it this week. I've already complained about it before. But anyway, that's both CPR drivers out, along with Lee and Dave. Nevertheless, we'll return to what's happening on track. That's the more exciting bit. Yellow flag in sector 1. It's not gone Wesley's way today, has it? Unfortunately. Is it still leads 18 seconds? Viper in P3, then Julian 4th, Camel 5th, Rocco slotted into P6 after all of that drama. I think it's fair to say we saw Pantera now right on the back of Rocco. Rocco, he's got any front damage? Of course, he's hit the wall a bit here, a bit there, a little bit of everywhere. And Camel's just hit the wall. Didn't quite see any debris flying about on track. He's got both end plates. Okay, so that's positive from his perspective. Jordan giving Lance a bit of pressure. So one of the Mercedes is on the push, one is on the defensive. As we head down towards turn number 1. Jordan carrying so much speed through the first part there. He's all over the back of Lancey. And as they've just flicked through shot there, Jordan right on the back. He's going to look for the inside. Has he got the straight line speed? He doesn't. He has to tuck back into the slipstream. He's going to have to make this move late on the brakes. Lancey is going to have to concede the position. And we now accelerate towards turn number 2. Lancey, will he go for the move into turn 2? He won't. Plays it a bit more sensibly. And Architect putting pressure on Gary as well, about a P8, but just a little bit behind that. Lancey's lost 1 place into turn 1. Will he lose place into turn 3? I can't imagine it being sent on the brakes, and it was not. Pretty sensible from the drivers battling from 11th and 12th. Lancey was about to take the racing line there. Bit of a switchback now, but he's parked it on the apex, and actually it's actually quite good defensive driving, in all honesty, to stop the switchback from Lancey there. What this is enabling, though, is Jerome to get up the road in that gap now. 1.5 seconds. Speaking of further up the road, we've got a few drivers within a second of each other. Face Montero putting the pressure on Rocco. Mercedes really didn't have the turn in there. He turned and it didn't bite. He did not bite at all, and then it just sort of went in for the castle section. Not the confidence you want to sort of have, but nevertheless, we are going to get rains at the end. I've decided. I was hopeful for a bit of dry running, but well, oh, that was almost the wall. But yes, so what's Julian got penalty-wise? Ah, it's a free-second penalty. Missed that. Julian has got a free-second time penalty. And the first person to get one for sort of track limits. Verstappen closing and closing on this main straight. You don't think he'll quite get close enough to go for the move. So the move we'll look at is maybe one for P12. Pikachu goes to what will be the inside later on, but Lanzi is quick in a straight line. They've lost quite a heap of time to Jerome. Fastest lap there, I didn't quite see what it was for, in all honesty, but Pichu, will he go for a move around the outside? Can he scope clean around the outside? I think he's got the grip to do it. And that can be wheel to wheel. His head down towards turn at number 2. Mercedes on the inside. Will he just go a little bit deep to pressure his rival? No. Fair play to him. Gives him the room. And looks like on the outside, Pikachu's got the better exit. Gets the power down nicer. And he's going to move himself up into P11. Back to the front. And it is from Verstappen from Viper. Your top 3, and Julian just a little bit adrift from them with Camel for close company. Red Bull just sort of appeared from the wall there. I'm not too sure what. Maybe got a bit of a dodgy exit, or was aggressively breaking the toe. I'm not sure. Only he will know. Julian, good exit out of there. Extended advantage from Cam back up to 9/10 of a second. Further back, Ace Pantera and Rocco still going at it. Gary and Architect have now joined this battle, I think it's fair to say. Oh, just about get it slowed down, it seems. That's sort of a make or break corner, I feel, in this race. It's really ruined some drivers' races, and two very different lines there from Pantera and Rocco. Who's going to be a bit more committed? Pantera definitely has carried the speed through, he's carried the momentum up and overtake, and actually is taking it away. He's actually not using overtake now, he is, because he wants to get clean ahead of Rocco. Rocco now down into, oh, that camera was really annoying. Rocco's into the pit lane. Rocco's deciding that it's time to box. He must have hit the wall, just about gets it slowed down. I want to see if we're putting a front wing on this, as we are. Ferrari mechanics bring out another front wing, and that we put on the Ferrari. I've never seen this Jackman on the side. He surely can't be there. And away the Ferrari goes once more. Back up at the front though, that gap was under 0.5 of a second for a brief moment. I think we're... Oh, and Gary and Architect are dueling it, battling away. Gary down the inside into turn 4. Jerome wants to try and find a way past as well. He's going to stick his nose at the inside, but just backs out at the last moment. And they've all run wide. One of them hasn't run wide, is Jerome. Can he get a switch back here? Can he get the power down better? Not quite. The time he's unable to overtake, it's a little bit too late. Just a wheel spin. Gary, Architect, and Jerome fiercely battling it out. P7. Back up at the front. Izza leads the way. Oh, and it was just sidewall to the wall there for Stappen. Bit of a touch, but nothing too major, as we'll have 3 laps to go once they cross the start-finish line. And it's been a full intermediate condition race. Always very difficult mentally. Jordan is not... He struggled. Oh, he's got a difficult exit there, and he's lost a bit of time, and he's carrying a tremendous speed through the high-speed corners there. Maybe the circuit is drying up a little bit, or just maybe just confidence building for the drivers. I was definitely not taking that sort of much on full throttle a while ago. Verstappen staring at that Alpine rear wing for a fair while now. You've got to say, is it, well, Verstappen 36%. Is there quite a bit less, locks it up, but gets the car in at the apex. This ERS battle could be crucial. Come the long straight, come the last couple of laps, could be pivotal. The delta between the two, but then of course this middle sector allows it just to build it back up a bit, but he is using it a little bit more than his rival. Bit of a wiggle there for Verstappen. Nothing major. Of course, Viper's right there as well, but he ERS-wise sits in the same boat as Izza. You've got Julian, a little bit of drift of the pair. He's in the Verstappen cam, and so is QVR Campbell. Pantera doesn't like to use the ERS. He's at 100% somehow. Should have just caned it down the straight if you're not going to use it. It's just free lap time, isn't it? It's like when when you used to be able to play with a fuel mix. For every all the corners you just left, I always just leave it in lean, and then when you got to a long straight, you put it up to rich because you might as well use it. Bit of extra speed helps you with the time, and everyone's. What's the right one? I'm going to go. Everyone's clunking the wall there. Turn 15, didn't take any victims that time around, and can Jerome carry the speed this time around? I don't think we're going to get any moves up front. We'll see. He is able to carry. Yes, a much bigger lift off that time around. However, a lot closer to the rear wing of Architect. Can he make the move? In the slipstream, he's not gaining at all, really. He's getting a little bit. Not close enough to make the move. Will he go for the move? Looked for it, tried for it. Didn't have the brakes. Who doesn't have the brakes is Gary. Gary's gone wide. We're going to have a freeway fight now. Can Jerome go down the middle? Can he go down the inside of the pair of them? Not quite. He's going to back out. Try and take a nice exit. Architect, little tap to his front right from Gary. He's unsettled the car and almost squeezing him into the wall. There's a drag race now. Down towards turn number 3. Gary seems to have just about held on to P7. Somehow, after his big moment. Later on the brakes is Jordan. Can he get the car turned in? Just about. And he goes clean around the outside. That's a fantastic move. Leaving the space as well. Fair play to Jordan. I'm sure his heart was in his mouth when he locked up. But nevertheless. Very, very cool move. He's done a bit of saving compared to the last couple of laps. Is on the old ERS front, so he could be safe. It's not like he's going to run out and his rival is going to have more. We've got yellow flag in sector 3, and unfortunately that is Wesley. We're too late to have a safety car or anything, so we'll just keep going. That's unfortunate, DTR driver, but fair play to them. Big lock up for his. That's not what you want heading into turn 15. Fair play to Wesley for hanging out. It's not gone his way this evening, but did not retire sort of on purpose. It's just a bit. Anyway, P. Jerome. He got past Architect on the last lap. Can he get past Gary on this lap? We've got 2 laps to go for our race leaders, including. We're on the final lap of the race now. One more lap in this race, and Verstappen is really putting the pressure. Purple in the final sector. This is the lap to try and get past. Someone who wants to get past. Into turn number 1. It's Jerome. He's going to flick to the outside, is he? He is. Trying to go around the outside. He's gone around the outside of one of them already. He's going to go around the outside of another one. Can he get the power down? Yes, he can. That's a fantastic move from Jerome. Back-to-back round the outside moves. And he's moved himself up in a P7. Can he keep hold of it? I think Jan Rocco says the fast lap of the race. I spoke about him earlier on. If he didn't have that change of front wing, he definitely would have been up there in some decent point scoring positions. And the pace just proves it. But the front free as they were. And now into the car section we go once more. This is where you sort of your heart, if you're leading the race, your heart's in your mouth as you throw the car in. But he's building a gap. A gap now almost at a second. He's got that buffer that he will be wanting. Julian, as things stands, will be dropping down into P4, and it's going to be QVR second and 4th if things stay as they were. We go into turn 15. Once more, clip of the curb, and everyone keeps it out of the wall. I'm looking to back up the hill, and I think they've done the same. Of course, one proper corner to go, but in the wet, we've got a few more corners, really. PG putting the pressure on Architect, not close enough to make a move. But we go back to the front, and Izza, well, once he got into the lead, he's controlled the race. He's not been threatened. Oh, he's to the wall. He seems to be okay. Has that killed his momentum? Not really. I mean, that was a heart-in-mouth moment if ever I've seen one. But Izza will take the win here in round number 10 for REL. QVR comes second with Verstappen and NRL. Complete the podium in a 3rd. As we said earlier, Camel moves himself up in a P4. And Julian is P5. Pantera takes P6. Good race from him. Jerome 7th. think erased what could have been, but still 70 decent points and good overall points for Ariel, who I think will maybe level with QVR for this race, or will be pretty close. So overall, no, it's a decent. No, Ariel will get the most points of this race. So decent result for Ariel. What they couldn't ask for much more, really. Gary takes P8, Mark takes P9. Pikachu rounds out the top 10 in 10th. And then you've got Lancey, Rocco, Ragnar, Brent round out your field of finishers. And then it's Wesley, Pyro Robbie, Lee and Dave. Unfortunately, your retirees. But the gap at the front by the end, 0.3 of a second. And Izzard takes the win. A very, very strong race from him. I'm sure he'll be very happy with that one. It's just so mentally draining. Intermediate conditions for the whole race. But nevertheless, great drive from him. Gary takes driver of the day. Yeah, I would agree with that one. And both Ferraris ultimately had a good race, apart from that late pit stop for Rocco, just a bit of damage. Never seen that celebration before, but, well, had a bit of fun. You've just, well, it's probably fitting for the old, Jubilee celebrations in the UK. A bit of a Queen sort of gesture there, if you will. But let's take our attention to next week. We just, of course, race around the streets of Azerbaijan, round number 10 of 12. And round 11 of 12, the penultimate round next week, is in Mexico. We're going to Mexico City. We're hopping over to the Americas for the final 2 rounds. We've got Mexico and then Brazil for your finale. So make sure to join us for Mexico in a week's time, Friday, 8 o'clock once more, UK time. And if you want to look forward to more racing action, we've got our divisions this week that are racing here in Azerbaijan. Divisions 1 to 5 on Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, all starting 8 o'clock UK time as well. So thank you everyone for joining. I've enjoyed myself. It's been good to be back in the commentary box rather than watching from afar. And someone did actually message me and tag me saying it's full wet for the race. It was fun to not know, I guess. Anyway, thank you for all watching. Hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. And we'll see. Well done to Ariel, QVR, and NRL for getting on the podium. Well done to Izzer and Verstappen and Viper for the ones doing it. They all started 6th, 7th, and 8th. So as I did say at the start, the starting order will not be the finishing order, and we very much got that with 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th being your top 4. But yes, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you hopefully during the week, but if not, next week for Mexico.